A girl came home from work and found her partner in bed with another woman. She walks away saying, "In an hour, when I come back, you and your stuff should be gone." When she returns, her boyfriend is just doing the dishes, as if nothing happened. The girl says, "What are you doing here? I told you to leave." He replies, "What's the matter with you, darling? Did something happen? Why are you acting like this?" The girl answers, "I caught you making love to another woman an hour ago." His answer, "What woman? What's going on with you? You're out of your mind. You are dreaming. You are hallucinating. Do you really think I would do such a thing?" And so on. I think you understood the meaning of this situation. The girl was just forced to doubt her own adequacy, and if this happens every day in relationships, can it be considered as a violence? You can say, well, this is impossible to lie like that. How can you believe such lie? Trust me, it is possible when someone uses gaslighting as a kind of a psychological violence. But a normal person definitely might think it is impossible, since everyone judges according to his or her own values. This is why the victims of psychological violence are usually kind people that are easy to manipulate. My name is Darina and I'm running a psychology blog for a happier living. Let's go! Long story short, this situation ended up when the girl looked at the surveillance cameras in the building and made sure that her man entered the elevator hand in hand with this girl she found in a bed with him. So, in a nutshell, what gaslighting is? It's when you're being slowly driven insane. This is a type of a psychological violence in which a person is made to feel that they are going crazy, that they are insane, that they cannot trust their ears, their eyes, their feelings, and so on. So, in simple words, gaslighting is a form of a psychological violence in which the key component is the denial of your reality by someone. First of all, let us understand where the name gaslighting comes from. The origin of the term gaslighting is linked to the film Gaslight. It shows how a spouse of a young woman planted a seed of doubt about the adequacy of his spouse and almost drove her insane by constantly failing to confirm the reality of the events around her. However, I will not tell you many details of the movie, you can watch it yourself. I will only say that it won 2 Oscars, plus a fantastic performance by Ingrid Bergman as a bonus. What kinds of gaslighting are there? In everyday life, it can take many forms, such as denial of facts. What's the matter with you? I never said that. Denial of emotions. Look, you think you are in a bad mood, but you are not. Or when someone constantly emphasizing your inadequate perception or even hinting that you have a mental illness. Look, something strange with you lately. Your grandfather started out the same way. It's not fatigue, it's your depression starting again. This form of communication may be used both by spouses or partners in relation to each other and also by parents in relation to their children. Often it leads to serious psychological and emotional problems for the victim of gaslighting. It is very common in daily life. For example, parents deny the fact of physical abuse against the child. Relatives accuse the victim of incest of being insane and blame them for lying. The husband considers any tears of his wife to be a sign of her being dramatic and brushes off discussing conflict situations. Can gaslighting in relationships really drive you crazy? This is a controversial question. The famous psychiatrist and psychotherapist Ronald Lang proposed the term non-affirmation. Lang and other representatives of the communication approach in psychiatry believed that Any person needs reassurance in the broad sense of this word. We periodically check our watches with our people, with other people, and check out the system of coordinates. For example, you ask your friend if you think that John is flirting with Sarah or this is just your imagination. Or parents who say to their child, well, yeah, I would be upset in this situation too. I would be hurt too if my school friends did this and that. Then the child feels that his feelings are adequate to the situation. But very often, at least in the older generations, when there was no internet or no much literature, what did kids hear? Don't make it up. You are just taking everything too close to your heart. Does the gaslighter consciously gaslighting you? In some cases, yes. For example, if your partner is prone to psychological abuse, manipulation, pathological lying, and so on. But there are cases when the person doesn't do it on purpose, but it still causes so much damage. Parents do not want to make their children crazy on purpose. However, in some families, there are pathological communications. Here's an example. Parents swear in front of their children and probably even fight. They call each other bad words, threaten each other with divorce. Naturally, a child watching this begins to fall into a tantrum or crying or suffering. Everyone will do their own thing. Seeing this, parents calm the child with words like, "You misunderstood everything. Mom loves daddy and daddy loves mommy. It is not what you actually see. We were just talking. No one is going to get a divorce," and so on. Parents seem to have good intentions when they reassuring their child, but this really brings irreparable harm. Because growing up, you cannot trust yourself, you cannot trust your feelings, you can become anxious. It is difficult for you to build close, trusting relationships, and you can have difficulties in choosing a partner, choosing a job, even choosing an everyday activity, as you are constantly doubting the correctness of your decisions, emotions, and feelings. Because mom and dad are the most valuable figures to the child, and if they convinced a child that what he saw and what he understood was not real and that it's something else, then probably this is true. By the way, if you're already talking about this situation, the minimum you can do is not argue in front of the kids, and the maximum, you can give the child an opportunity to grieve about what they experienced. Just help the kid to cope with his or her feelings instead of gaslighting them, leaving the child in even greater confusion and despair with traumas he or she will have to deal with in the future. Going even deeper and answering the question of whether gaslighting can drive a child insane, I can say that theoretically it is possible, provided there is a predisposition to schizophrenia. More often than not, however, gaslighting victims develop anxiety and depressive disorders. Frightening example is the Zersetzung, German for rust, decay. I probably pronounced this word not correctly, but I'm not German, so Zersetzung. This is technique used by the Stasi, secret police in the German Democratic Republic since the 1950s. This technique was used in order to demoralize the right person with masterly applied psychological pressure. Strange things would happen in a man's house. For example, some plates would be replaced by others, or suddenly a painting will appear on the wall that never been there. Strangers in the street called a man by different names, and strange calls rang out in the middle of the night. These kind of events completely demoralize a person, and together with other tricks, compromise, threats to relatives, often became the cause of suicide. Is it possible to resist gaslighting? Yes, there are tactics of behavior by which an adult can resist such pressure. 1. Develop the ability to trust yourself and your feelings. If gaslighting really does occur, make little notes on your phone or keep photographs as proof of such events. Even if it seems a little paranoid, it may help you in the beginning and give you a factual basis which can be a good supporting crutch. This is how I call it. 2. Expose the gaslighter. You can say, I know what you are doing. It annoys me that you are trying to make me look crazy. I know exactly and remember what happened, and so on. 3. A little contradictory advice, but agree with the gaslighter. You can say, okay, you're right and I'm wrong. Yes, this is also a form of manipulation, but after these words, the man simply will not have anything to confront you with, and violence may stop. You can also say, okay, you have your point of view and I have mine, but you do not have to change my opinion. 4. If necessary, ask independent observers. Do other people actually notice that something is wrong with you, that you have a strange behavior? Also, it could be quite useful to have a look at yourself from the side, in case you actually have a problem but don't want to notice it, so at least you won't be confused. 5. If you suspect that gaslighting occurring in your family, see a therapist. To sum up, as I said already, it is possible to gaslight someone who doesn't trust themselves or their feelings and thoughts. However, a confident and vital person may also lose his or her self-esteem if spent many years in relationships with an abuser or manipulator. In both cases, it is better to see a psychotherapist or a psychologist for stabilize yourself and believe in yourself again to be able effectively resist psychological violence and in general to have a strength to leave toxic relationships. Thank you for watching till the end, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and I will see you in next videos. Bye!